You know, I feel like shitting on something. Let's talk about the moves Sony's been making these last few years. For whatever reason, I mean, come on, we all know the reason. Sony has been going all in on live service projects. This whole idea dripped out of the mind of Jim Ryan, SIE's previous president and global CEO. Basically, he saw that Fortnite money and the insane numbers other companies like Rockstar were putting up. Then, like so many others who fall for this trap, he wanted in. See, this is what my mama would call not appreciating what you already have. Now, I'm just a simple gamer. I'm not some fancy talking businessman or anything like that. But consider this. Jim Ryan had a 30-year career in this industry, and I've been a gamer for just as long. I've seen trends come, I've seen trends go. And considering the fact that I'm the consumer, I think that I can speak on this. Myself and many others saw the writing on the wall as soon as it was announced that the company was preparing to launch 12 live service projects by 2025. Well, it's 2025. What have we gotten so far? Damn. Well, I mean, Helldivers 2 did well, and Marathon is actually releasing, allegedly. Oh, and they also had Concord. So, what happened? As much of a failure as this initiative was, I'm actually not going to hate on it too much. At least, not the idea of it. Sony was blinded by dollar signs because of games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, and even Bungie's own Destiny series. They'd go so far as to acquire Bungie soon after, strictly for what they could bring to the table when it comes to live service. Even though most of these games are dead in the water, I mean, do you really think that Fair Games is coming out? And even with Helldivers 2 being the only real success, I can still respect the hustle. I mean, look, I get it. When I'm sitting at that blackjack table, I'm going all in. Maximum bet. Because, you know, what if? I would respect it just a bit more if they didn't have to fire so many people in the process. I mean, damn. Have some kind of safety net for people. I mean, is that really so hard? Regarding Concord, I really cannot understate how insane it is that that game was pulled from the PlayStation Store. It got cyberpunked, for God's sakes. I mean, they didn't even pull Life of Black Tiger from the PlayStation Store. They even promoted it on their official YouTube channel. What the hell? It's estimated that Sony spent between 200 and 400 million on Concord. And for what? Nobody wanted it. They had to have known that nobody wanted it. It was sent to die in an incredibly competitive corner of the market, facing other hero shooters like Overwatch, a free-to-play game, by the way, and they had the nerve to price themselves at $40. Overwatch 2 is free to play and even sponsored by the Hub. I mean, you just can't beat a marketing machine like that. Stop it. They knew all of this and they just went along with it anyway? Why? Are they stupid? I think they could have avoided all of that if they just would have stuck with what has historically worked and slowly built up from there. It's kind of like how everyone in Hollywood noticed what Marvel was doing by the time of Infinity War, but not back in 2008 with the release of Iron Man. They planted seeds, they took their time, they played the long game, and it paid off huge. Everyone else tried to rush into their own cinematic universe, and it was embarrassing. That's what Sony is doing here with its live service push. But I mean, can we really be surprised at Sony's behavior when they're the same company who is still actively trying to push a Spider-Man cinematic universe without Spider-Man? Like, oh yeah, Madam Web, everyone's favorite character. That's who I want to see. Sony was going for the whole pie, right from the jump. They didn't want to leverage what they already had to make pursuing a live service model much easier. Sony first-party games are known for one thing and one thing only: highly cinematic, single-player narratives with insane polish and tight gameplay. For better or for worse, that is Sony. It has been for years. I distinctly remember the presentation where we all saw Concord's big fancy CGI reveal trailer for the first time. It was full of Marvel-style quips and felt very Guardians of the Galaxy at home. This isn't like a deal breaker on its own. I mean, sure, it didn't seem very original, but the vibes online weren't completely dismissive. I mean, not at first. That came soon after, when it was revealed the game wasn't the latest big-budget single-player adventure. It was instead a totally derivative, multiplayer-only hero shooter. There was a collective sigh heard round the world. I felt it. I felt it. To quote this amazing comment I found on the Concord reveal trailer, "It's not even Overwatch. It's just over." I can easily imagine a world where Concord releases as a single-player experience, maybe a 10 to 15 hour adventure you could finish in like a week, with a memorable story, great performances, fun characters, that people will slowly become invested in. Like, if a plank of wood like Aloy could sell over 20 million copies of her debut game, why not these jokers? In that perfect world, it costs a fraction of the 200 to 400 million it actually ended up costing. And Sony gets another IP it can add to its fancy PowerPoint presentation. Instead, the game was immediately a laughingstock. No, honestly, it wasn't even that. It was just nothing at all. It only was available for about 2 weeks before Sony pulled the plug and closed Firewalk Studios. Man, I remember the days when a game didn't have to choose between giving you a high-budget, cinematic adventure and a space to shit-talk with 12-year-olds after a hard day's work.
Hey.
Dude, doesn't he sound like a little girl?
Hey.
Yeah, I was just telling him that last game, dude.
What happened to plain old multiplayer modes? Let me take you back to 2004, early November. Soon, one of the most highly anticipated entertainment products ever made will be releasing. A video game us old heads like to call Halo 2. Halo 2 was the whole package. I mean, that's it. That's the simple reason it was such a big deal. It built off of the runaway success that was Halo 1 and introduced an expanded world with new characters, weapons, locations, and enemies to face. It also took its multiplayer experience to the next level. And let me tell you, nothing felt better than hopping on Halo 2 matchmaking with the boys in 2004. Online multiplayer through Xbox Live was Halo 2's claim to fame, and it would only explode even more when Halo 3 was released a few years later. You get what I'm saying here? Halo wasn't just a highly cinematic single-player adventure, and it wasn't just a fully featured multiplayer shooter. Halo was something that you could experience alone or with friends, both competitively and cooperatively. Halo was the entire package. Fast forward to Bungie's latest effort, Marathon, a game that, admittedly, oozes style from the few bits of it that we've seen so far, even if they might have accidentally stolen some of said style. But ignoring that for now, they have the bright idea to make the game multiplayer only? Do you know how many gamers immediately lose interest when you say the dreaded words multiplayer only? Halo, single player adventure, co-op, multiplayer, one game, multiple experiences. 2.5 copies sold day one with an estimated budget of only $60 million. Destiny, a single player campaign paired with a robust multiplayer suite that offers PvP and PvE experiences. Over 6 million copies sold, the biggest new franchise launch in history. Like, I don't play Destiny. I didn't even know it did all that. I mean, like, let me give Destiny its flowers real quick. Like, that is very impressive. But why on earth would you make your next big project multiplayer only? Make it make sense. The only real multiplayer success from Sony's big dumb plan is Helldivers 2. And I'm not trying to take anything away from that. I mean, it sold like a crazy 12 million copies or something like that. I mean, that's not nothing. But it's yet another multiplayer only game that's priced at $40. If Helldivers 2 did have a big, beautiful cinematic campaign, are you going to try to tell me that it would have sold less? That's ridiculous. The very reason why I'm not interested in Helldivers 2 is because it has no single player content. And you know there's plenty of other people like me who didn't give the game a chance, who might have if there was just a campaign as well. Like, me and my friends didn't get into Halo because of the multiplayer. We got into it because of the Chief and Cortana and the Arbiter. We were invested in their fight against the Covenant and the Flood. So Sony, I humbly ask you, why not both? In the past, Sony has found success in offering games with both a fleshed out single player campaign and a multiplayer offering. I feel that if they were to replicate that on PS5 and PC, throw in a little bit of crossplay, they could see a lot of success. The development cost of games like The Last of Us and Uncharted 4 pale in comparison to the bag Sony threw at Concord, and both of those games had super fun multiplayer. Nobody was asking for factions to be ripped out of The Last of Us and sold separately. Just put that shit in the next chapter of the main story and call it a day. Remember God of War Ascension? Even that had a multiplayer mode. I mean, this used to just be the norm. Sure, there were some real stinkers. I mean, God of War Ascension multiplayer wasn't good, but we had pleasant surprises as well, like Uncharted 2, 3, and 4. Uncharted 4 has sold over 16 million copies, and yet it still featured a full multiplayer mode. It only serves to extend the life of your game. Outside of Sony, games like Demon's Souls and Dark Souls would find new and unique ways to introduce multiplayer that was seamlessly woven in with a player's solo adventure. Grand Theft Auto would find insane success with its new online mode, first featured in Grand Theft Auto 4. Even games like Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 didn't skimp on multiplayer. It just makes sense. It seems like such an obvious solution, and they're just ignoring it. With so many gamers barking about the value of games or games costing too much, adding multiplayer is a great way to provide that value and potentially make more money from microtransactions, which in turn help fund the next big project. And hey, if you're a gamer who is just here for the story, the included multiplayer isn't hurting you at all. Metal Gear Solid 4 had a super interesting online mode that I only tried a few times, but I never looked at it and wondered, why did they even bother? You know, I still enjoyed the single player just fine. Everybody wins here. If you want to give players a reason to share your game with friends or come back to it, leverage the audience you already have and offer multiplayer in addition to what they're already used to. It really is that simple. I've seen it with my own eyes. I remember when Halo was new. I remember when Gears of War was new. I remember when Call of Duty 4 was brand new. No one ever complained that their multiplayer game had a campaign, and no one ever complained their single player game had multiplayer. Well, unless the single player was bad. Then people complained and blamed the resources spent on multiplayer, even though it's usually handled by a completely separate team, but that's not the point, okay? This entire live service mess is 100% of Sony's own making. I think they need to accept the fact that they can't sell their core audience on live service, especially ones that aren't free to play. The only way this could possibly work out for them is by slowly, and I mean slowly, converting that core audience into fans of live service by leveraging the strength of their most successful IP. Look, I don't know if Fair Games is actually going to release. I hope it does, genuinely, and I hope it makes $1 billion and all the devs get a fat bonus. I don't know if Marathon is actually going to release. As of writing, it's been delayed past September. No new release date in sight. But again, I hope it releases and is a success for the sake of those that worked on it. But what I do know about both of these games is that I won't be playing them. I mean, why would I? They're multiplayer only.